Hi, y'all. Welcome back to F Wonderland, the podcast. I'm Jake. If you're new here, I'm joined with my terrific co-hosts, Kelley and Tim. And yes, of course, we are reviewing a race that happened this past week, the third and final race of our triple header. And it was in Saudi Arabia, Jeddah Corniche circuit. So in Saudi Arabia, the circuit was the Jeddah Corniche circuit, which is one of the most, the fastest, one of the fastest tracks and one of the most dangerous tracks. I was going to start this episode with I don't know if you guys have seen the video meme of Nancy Pelosi walking to that podium and being like,
"There's no point in saying good morning because it certainly is not one."
Is that how you feel today, Jake?
I mean, that's the energy of the week. I mean, unless your name is Oscar Piastri, but we'll get into that. I just kind of wanted to paint the vibe for what happened this week. It's been a very stressful week for me. Started on Friday. I don't know if you guys watched Coachella or not, but Gaga's mic was not working, and so she was mad.
There's a lot of shit about Coachella this year. How everybody's outfits. I don't know. It seemed like left and right, everybody was dragging everybody, and it just did not seem like a good time, except for Gaga's show. It looked like it was amazing.
Then her mic wasn't working, so she was mad. People in the audience were mad, not at her, but at the experience. Not at her, but people not bringing other people out. And then we had, coming down to F1, we had a massive Q3 crash, which.
Spoiler alert.
We also had a 5-second penalty that happened immediately, and a McLaren takeover of the Drivers' Championship, not from another team, but their own. So it's giving major plot twist.
It's giving chaos.
It's giving chaos meets carbon fiber. Everything is just crashing out right now, including myself.
We probably need to do a well check on you, Jake.
A wellness check. Yeah.
How are we?
I woke up with a fever, so not well, bitch, not well. You know that.
I think you could probably just invoice McLaren for that, right? Care of Zach Brown.
Yeah.
Any medical expenses incurred?
I mean, I don't know. We'll make it through.
I did see this coming, Jake, and I want you to know I'm on Team Jake. So I wore my
Can you show everybody the whole
Jake
shirt? Hey, that's our boy.
And there have been just the trend in the paddock. You're very on trend. No shirt.
Did you take that in the cool down room, Jake?
Yeah. So I'm here for you. I'm Team Jake always, even though we'll probably disagree today in certain takes, but I still love you. And it was a rough weekend for you, so I'll acknowledge that.
I love you. I love you, Tim. I'm not well. And especially not well that you just showed people watching that shirt. I thought it was buried and gone.
Well, it was buried, but we did find it yesterday.
For anyone that is not watching, it is a picture of me. I am shirtless. It was from a modeling thing I did a long time ago.
Also, not just shirtless, but jacked to shit.
Yeah, you look great.
Yeah.
With
this is an advertisement.
I have bleached blonde hair. It's a look. It's a look. It will not be featured in my hydration station, but
it will
Kelley,
be featured in our merch shop come late 2026.
Listen,
give the people what they want.
Listen,
Jacob.
in this economy, I'm gonna have to start paying back my student loans too. So let's just rack that thing up, okay? Anyway, back to racing. This weekend also saw Ferrari finally on the podium. We had Red Bull tripping over track limits and a 4-time world champion under some serious pressure. And Williams also is off to their best start of their season in nearly a decade, which we will talk about in our race recap. We also have Kelley with our favorite team radio moments with Box Banter, my picks for Hydration Station, and Tim's take or
Tim's Cakes.
Plural. Tim's.
Am I about to get my own shirt, but just pantsless instead of?
That's on you.
Tim's
That's on you.
Cakes.
Tim's
Tim
Cakes.
does have cakes.
Mm-hmm. And if you're new here, Tim likes to do a Will Buxton quote or saying that somehow is
it's a revolutionary Buxtonism that has come to fame from Drive to Survive, stating the obvious in way too many words.
And it's ironically less dramatic and more accurate your versions are than what his are.
Well, his are wildly accurate, but also like wildly obvious.
Right.
Like,
which is
if it's raining outside,
the fun of it.
Tires will get wet.
Right. So that's kind of what we have going on for today. Of course, we'll update you on the drivers and the constructors standings, and we'll check in on how the three of us are doing in our fantasy leagues, even if some of us are still emotionally recovering from this weekend's results. So,
yeah,
I think we're a green flag to get this started. I feel like this is a Band-Aid, and I'm about to rip it all off.
But before we rip too hard, let's just plug a couple of things. We were together last week. We talked about that on the last episode. If you haven't watched that one yet, give episode 9 a listen. We were also together watching it, and we made some fun social media posts. So if you don't follow us, this is a call to action to get your little tookus on the socials and follow us on F1_Derland on all the places you would assume we are, because we are there. TikTok and Facey page, no. Instagram, Threads, we are out there. And speaking of being together, being friendly, being excited for each other, we are still actively ready to plug whatever you're up to. We're still looking for some sponsorship to keep this train going. We know and believe that we bring something different to the F1 space. We know we have a core group of listeners that is excited about F1 and maybe has a different point of view than just the technical car side of things. I was explaining to one of my friends, we're kind of like I don't want to devalue us, but there is something around the like housewives kind of drama of it all. The
F1
reality
Bravo-verse.
TV. Yeah. And we'd love to plug what you're up to and your product, because I think our team would love to know what we stand behind and who stands behind us. So if you know anyone,
if you have a podcast, we'd love to plug it as well.
Absolutely.
That's great too. If you know anyone, you can tag us, connect us, reach out directly to us. Jake, what's our email?
It is F1. It is,
and I'm gonna send it off to Jake for the shit that I don't know.
Yeah, it's F_Wonderland podcast@gmail.com. Let me make sure before.
And Kelley's Venmo, if you want a copy of that shirt that she has, is.
Times are tough.
Yeah,
and if you'd like to see this merch come to life,
honestly,
hit subscribe.
It is F1.
Let us know if you want to see this shirt. We're going to post the clip. Kelley, can you just show us the shirt again?
Yeah.
All of its glory?
It's just unusually cropped because it's Jess's version. So I do have pants on, but it's great.
It's great.
Look at how
we'll recreate it in the merch shop and sell it.
The email address is
Coda.
The email address is fwonderlandpodcast@gmail.com. If anyone was trying to.
Thanks, Jake.
You're
welcome.
Keep us
honest today. And let's talk about the race. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go. Should we start with quali?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I feel like really the only, well, maybe if not one of a couple, but the only thing really on our hearts and minds is Lando crashing out in Q3 and sad boy weekend ensuing. But I don't think in like a meh, I'm Lando Norris and I'm a sad boy. It was just like I can't imagine crashing out at going 160 miles per hour going into the wall. Also, like, Oscar's hot on his tail, or at that moment was hot on his tail for the Drivers' Cup, and I think it shook him up. Shook him up bad, physically, literally, emotionally, mentally. I don't know. Did you guys see any more of his anything or post? I wasn't able to watch any of the post-race interviews because it was Easter and we had family shenanigans happening right after the race.
There are quite a few post-race clips that are pretty funny and great. There really wasn't a lot after, I think, intentionally. There was a very pointed, I'm okay, we're not going to talk about it kind of thing. But that was it.
Yeah. Great.
Which I also thought was like, that's vulnerable to me without the pity party. This might be controversial, Jake, but he was like, I'm okay, move on. I'm not going to answer that question, or I'm not going to like go there. Which felt, I don't know, reasonable.
Yeah. Everybody else has done it at some point. I feel like as these boys are getting older, the Lando, Carl, Alex, George crew, that era, they're starting to kind of put a little, like, it seems like they are still that new generation that is more accessible, and we get to see them more and more of their development and lives outside of things because of the success of DTS and social media in general and everybody being super interested. But it's kind of interesting to see how they're all growing up, especially as this rookie class comes in and they're not the babies anymore.
Yeah. I feel like,
Jake, do you have a different...
I just feel like you guys are like, you're like, it's okay, everyone crashes, it's fine, this happens. Like, I feel like you guys are tiptoeing around. Listen,
our chat blew the fuck up from Jake.
I love Lando Norris. That is my driver. He will always be my driver, just like a lot of people will always have Lewis or Max. And he was the entryway for my F1 love, which I think is very apparent.
Sure.
At the end of the day, they're rich race car drivers, and it's a game. And as much as it hurt to watch that, I think I'm more, I guess I don't want to be like, oh, I'm an empath, I'm so empathetic, but like, I have just seen, even since last year, how he just gets dragged through the media. I mean, they all do to an extent, but it just seems that Lando gets dragged no matter what he does, no matter how he reacts. If he does react, then he's cocky and emotional. If he doesn't react, then he's not showing enough support for the team, or he's not, he's given up, or fill in the blank. And I really do think he drove brilliantly. He was the only one, I believe, on a hard tire that went, the longest stint with Charles. And
he had a great race considering
he had a great race, but
like,
also like in the post coverage, there wasn't great job, Lando. You like came back from, a net gain of 6. Whereas if another driver on the grid comes up 6, 7, 8 places, it's the best drive of the season.
Driver of the day. And if you're Kimi Antonelli, you cannot move places at all and become driver of the day.
I know that I'm not like, I know that this is coming off so like, oh, my baby got hurt and I'm sticking up for him. But I really do mean this. Like, if it was Charles that came up those many places and there was just like no acknowledgement of it, like, it wouldn't happen. That would be like, if Lewis came up 6 places, it would look, Lewis is finally comfortable in the car. Look how great he drove. And
sure.
there really wasn't any of that. And I don't think Lando needs that. And I, as a fan of Lando, don't need that either. I just think that it's hard to see your favorite driver be so affected by anything he does. And again, I'm saying this as someone that knows that they all go through their own shit. And at the end of the day, they're all very, very privileged, rich boys that, there are a lot worse things in the world to be upset about. However, I just find it very hypocritical amongst a lot of things. And a lot of that does trickle down from the FIA as well.
Well, I think
Lando
has made himself relevant. Like, no one's cheering that he came up that many places because everyone knows that McLaren's car is like the best, if not one of the best, based on everything. He was top of the timesheets for free practice 2 and 3. Like, we know he's fast. We know he has a great car. We know he's in contention for the world championship. So, I mean, it's like a nod when you are being talked about. Ollie Bierman, I forget what race where he gained 10 places and like no one even really mentioned it. So there's like a privilege to being mentioned and being like in the position he is to be mentioned because of what he's done, like the work he's done to put himself in the place where he's relevant to talk about. And I think so many people are rooting for him. I think that's part of it, is like, it was crushing when he crashed. You know, like, people are actually rooting for him. He was ahead. He's been ahead. He started ahead. And like, I think everyone just wants him to be able to deliver while he's ahead and not do the thing where he comes from behind or is the underdog. You know, like, I think everyone's ready for him to step into that, like, crowning of the next world champion driver.
Next non-Max
Yeah.
world champion. And now I think, too, all those points are super valid. And I think to add on to that, I feel like a lot of the expectations bleeding over from the end of last season and preseason from this year, that because he was so close last year and it was papaya rules that could have gotten in the way or some, you know, whatever you want to think, but he's the first person since Max has been winning to get close to it. And so they thought that, but now that Oscar is in the lead and has been having the season he's had and had his elbows out all race, especially in turn 1, right? From this race. I don't know, that's just extra pressure because they're like, what's going on, man? You were right there. You're slipping through your fingers.
I think also no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I do think some of the narrative shifted after Sebastian Vettel, oh my God. I like switched my B's and B's.
Vettel.
Sebastian Vettel, who is a previous world champion. I love that man's vibe. He came out and just chatted about, you know, sometimes how unfair we can be to drivers and how much pressure is on drivers. And I even saw maybe in the pre-show just like Lando talking about Seb texting him and how much it meant to him that someone like Seb would text him and just say like, you're doing great, like just keep your head up, keep doing what you're doing. I do feel like the narrative changed slightly week to week. We talked about the pity party last week, and this week it's like, damn, that was just a racing incident. He was going ham. We knew he was fast all practice sessions, and super unfortunate at the wrong time. Had a crash, and also
if it were to happen at a decent point in qualifying too, because he still got into Q1, which is great.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on from Lando. Should we go chronologically here with? Sorry, Jake. Did you want to add something?
I think we're good. Yes, I do want to add something. I also just think that it's just
really funny how
kidding. I was the one on the balcony shining the red light at
Oscar
Piastri. No, I do want to just mention how I think that part of the problem here too, I mean, is why we have a podcast, right? It's social media, it's fandom, it's me going into the comments and seeing things and getting riled up and disagreeing. But it's because you're passionate, right? But at the same time, I think that there is some level of accountability that we as fans have to hold as well. Because you look at situations like Max in the end of the race and what he's been dealing with, a completely set of different circumstances or scenarios that he feels like he can emote whatever way he wants to emote because of regulations set by the FIA. And he said it in his, whatever his post-race interview was, I can't show any emotion. I can't say what I want. A lot of it is to do with social media because people will take things, they'll twist it, they'll create a narrative, and then it will affect people. And again, fully acknowledge that this is, Kelley likes to say, a rich boys driving club, which it completely is. So that's the only other thing I wanted to say is it's not just Lando. It's showing up in different areas. And I think it's becoming more prevalent, not just in F1, but in everything. Moving forward, I also want to protect my peace by maybe not looking in the comments or not doing this or not doing that, but then also speaking truth to my, feelings of what I felt. I will say to close this out before we move on, that all of these drivers, even last year, Max, Lando, that rivalry, whatever happens this year, when he crashed into the wall, you heard Oscar say, is he okay? You heard Max say, is he okay? Everyone cares about everyone. Yeah. So if you're new to this and you are listening to, how upset or how happy or, angry, whatever it may be, just know that to take it with a grain of salt. And that's what I'll say on that.
Yeah. Thank you, Jake. Okay, so going into turn one here, we had some crazy-ish happening. Always super exciting. Turn one is a non-negotiable for me and family. If we're doing anything or prepping any food for any meals, I'm sorry, I will be dropping things or letting things burn in order to see the first couple turns. And this, what?
I was going to say, sorry, Tim, but Dakota thought of the same thing. She's decided to have her meal right now as well. So,
no.
I don't know if you can see that or not, but she's chomping at the bit. So,
good girl, Dakota. Oscar Piastri driving elbows out as usual with Max and really not afraid to kind of give him what for. Caused Max to get a penalty. I think it was fine. I like Max. I think I enjoy watching him drive. I think he's got a really entertaining personality. He's obviously the best in the world at what he does in a couple of different arenas. And I think that he kind of went into that turn expecting Oscar to brake a little, underbrake a little bit more and kind of allow him to get that inside corner. And Oscar said, fuck no. I think the 5-second penalty was warranted, didn't mind it, and I didn't expect it to come down to a less than 5-second difference at the end. I thought Oscar was going to finish a little bit further ahead, but seeing that and Max's reaction, everything, I don't know. Do y'all have any strong feelings on that turn one call? Or are we all kind of on the same page there?
I wasn't necessarily a fan of it or happy about it when it happened, not because I'm a huge Max Verstappen fan by any means, but
you're getting there.
I
love it. I love this transformation.
I literally was rooting for Max this race, which was not on my bingo card. I think it's warranted looking back at it. I think it's warranted across the board. Where my beef with it comes back down to the FIA. Why are we just now enforcing this? Max has been doing this forever.
Yeah. Do you guys, so question about the FIA situation. I feel like, before we get to the FIA, obviously Yuki and Gasly, lap one, clipped each other. Gasly went into the wall, thought Yuki was going to come out of it alive, did not. Honestly, huge bummer. I can't remember if I had Pierre on my fantasy or not, but I thought I had a moment where I wanted to pick him, and I'm glad that I maybe didn't. And I also got Yuki
I
out.
switched him out. I switched Pierre Gasly in this weekend. That was another reason why. Mad.
Big mad.
Stay mad.
Stay mad. Big mad. I will say the thing that got, the more I went back, the more that I heard about certain things. The turn one incident happened. It was noted. The yellow flag happened because of Yuki Gasly. And then, there was time for the FIA to say, hey, give that position up. Max, that wasn't your corner. Give up the position. You gained an advantage by going off the track. And it's very clear that instead of braking to make the corner, he let off the brake. Obviously, he wanted to prove, like, if he's going to have any case, he can't be on the brake when that was happening. So it feels very obvious he invented this game in the corner. But we didn't get to the point of the FIA making a decision until the yellow flag was cleared. And we restarted. That was brutal. So it does there. And then when you end the race at a less than 5 second gap, then you're like, that's the FIA impacting the outcome of the race.
100%.
Not them racing. Like, yes, they're racing, but like that is where something completely different could have happened if we made a decision sooner. Obviously, it's the first corner of the race. No one owns track position totally. Like, it's not like you had a position, you're starting from the grid. And then Max honestly had a horrible start. Piastri got off great. And, you know, Piastri would have had that corner if he stayed braking. But that's where the FIA, if they're going to intervene, it has to be timely and decisive. So we don't have these like, well, if this would have happened, then that would have happened.
So and leaving the drivers hanging too, because I mean that, like you said, Kel, like it affects the whole race, the strategy, everything. And for him to find out about everything, and that's fucking lovely.
Bloody, don't give away my box banter. No, that's a spoiler alert. It's coming.
I also, like, if that happens at another, because I was like, why is that 5? Why is it 10? Why is it 20 sometimes? If that incident happens late after turn 1 or after the first lap, it becomes, you do have track position. You've claimed your track position in your racing line. So it becomes a 10-second penalty versus the 5. And also, like, I agree with the penalty in the sense of that was a runoff. If there was a gravel pit, grass, or a wall there, he would not have done that. So it's
calculated risk.
And when I say that Max has been doing this forever, I don't mean cheating. I mean, Max is so great at knowing the rules inside and out, and he knows how to use those rules to his advantage. I don't even want to say bend the rules. He just knows. And to your point, Kelley, he invented this game. And I think he's mad because he got
Big mad
called
Max.
Stay mad because he got 1 called out on it. But 2, this is really the first time it kind of came back to bite him. You know, we really didn't see penalties like this against Max Verstappen in such a, I don't want to say targeted way because I don't want to like create a storyline, but it seems a little, the
storyline's kind of there.
Yes. And I think a lot of that is from the FIA. I think, the president of the FIA came up to him before he was even interviewed, after he got out of his car, to basically warn him, do not talk shit about the FIA. And I feel for him too. Like it's like, these are race car drivers for our pleasure, putting their lives literally on the line, and you're going to do stupid shit like this. And it pisses off them and it pisses off us. And I just can't wait for there to be a change of leadership.
There needs to be, I mean, this is what I want to talk about, is that I feel like, could get spicy, but I feel like the whole world's experiencing what it feels like with crusty old men who have a lot of money trying to run stuff that people like and fucking ruining it. MBS is doing exactly that, and now for a while there was talks of Susie being in contention for putting her name in the hat, which I think would be fucking baller. Then this week started to see, or the 2 weeks ago saw that Helmut Marko is thinking of stepping down and wants Sebastian Vettel to come in and start running Red Bull. Like, thank God.
Gosh.
And then amazing. This week there's talks of Vettel being in the mix for FIA president. How do we feel about that? I feel personally that it could be really, really good. They can embrace a lot of newer things about the sport, like, and just like the way that Sebastian is approaching vulnerability and development of drivers, too, male and female. I think that he and Susie would bring a lot of really, really amazing change to the sport and make it a lot less crusty. That's just my thoughts. I'd like to hear what y'all think about that, if you have any strong opinions on it.
It is crusty. It's crusty. And I mean, to be very selfish, I love a good interview. Like, we wouldn't have incident. We wouldn't be talking about incidents if Charles wasn't just like, nothing, it was a race incident. And then Max saying, like, it's unfair, he pushed me off the... Like, we wouldn't have these memeable moments without, like, the adrenaline running interviews with these huge... Like, that is us also being invested in who these people are. Like, Max said something about his mom having balls. Like, that is the kind of unhinged stuff
it's bringing more people to the sport.
100%.
It's getting on like ESPN and Sports Center, like main grid posts on social media, which was not happening before. And so I think it just feels like MBS and his, clan of goons is trying to...
It's a lot of BS is what it is.
It is a lot of BS.
Yeah, it's like there was a lot to comment on this week, and like Lando and Max were the two people we'd probably like to hear from, and they were both kind of like,
I can't say what I really feel. Yeah. I think my biggest, I'm not a fan of the leadership, but I think just like anything, leadership trickles down. And the biggest thing that I've noticed in the year and a half that I've watched, all the races consistently is that the calls and the rules, not even the calls, the rules are not consistent. It's up to the driver. It's up to the team. It's up to this. It's up to this point. Like, it's okay here, but it's not okay there. Like, there is no consistency.
Stewards aren't consistent either, and that makes a huge difference. That's what I mean. When there's a mirror on the track.
That all comes from the top. So, like, there has to be change, because it's just, and that's why people get upset, and that's why they get mad and they pick sides and they say shit online, because they're mad, not at the driver. Yeah, their driver might not have done well or did something that pissed them off, but at the end of the day, it's the call from the FIA that really fucked everyone over. So stay mad.
Stay mad. Hashtag stay mad.
FIA is just giving us too many reasons to like just be annoyed.
Yep.
Be that.
A couple other things we want to touch on. Tire strategy this week was really interesting. Saw most people go hard to medium. A couple people go medium to hard. And I don't know. I didn't expect Lando, and who else was out there super long with hards? Was it Charles?
Charles and Lando were on hard.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. And
right?
Also Lance Stroll was, but but interesting to see them go that long with the hards.
Charles was on medium.
No, did he start?
Yeah,
medium?
He was on. I think he was started medium.
I think Lando was the only one who started on a hard.
Correct.
Which was different than everyone else, and I was like cheering on Papaya rules. I was like, Papaya rules makes a strategy call that is on their own. They are sticking their papaya neck out.
You're like, Jake's already in the dumps. We can't have it be any worse.
I texted Jake and I said, when Oscar pitted first to swap out, texted the group and said, how do we feel about this pit strategy? And all I got was, what strategy? Which is fair. To
be honest, I don't really think it was. It was a strategy. Anything they do is a strategy. But
Sure.
Honestly, I'm not going to give credit to Papaya until they consistently make strategies, because sometimes it's like, they had a great strategy. No, they just kind of lucked out. Like, they just kind of did it.
Undercuts last year.
I'm not saying that's what happened, but it was giving like they just pitted their number one driver who was leading. So duh.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought there was going to be a lot more fun teamwork at play here, and there really wasn't, except from Williams.
Hey-o.
A little back and forth. I was really excited to see DRS come into play. I felt like this was the first time this season that we've really seen the effect of that, and some strategy behind it too, and some old dogs teaching the new dogs some old tricks. with
I feel
DRS
like we should explain the gamery that was happening with the Williams and Hadjar behind.
Yes, absolutely. So with and please fill in. Now I hear Dakota. Fill in
she's ready.
As I missed things. She's chugging that lemonade.
She's ready for hydration station. She is slurping that.
Okay, so what was going on in this race? So DRS, just for a reminder, drag reduction system. It adds another 10 miles per hour to the car's speed. The rules for this are that there are only specific zones on the tracks that are typically straightaways or almost straightaways that this is allowed for. Safety reasons, all of that. It's easier to overtake. You also have to be within 1 second or less of the person in front of you in order to use it. So a couple different things happening with DRS this race. Lewis and Lando were going back and forth in the battle for 6th place for a moment there, for 2 or 3 laps going back and forth. Lando was not turning it on early enough or was overtaking Lewis too soon in order to get that place, but then Lewis would take it back immediately with DRS. That was hilarious. Felt like a cartoon.
He got
because you have to be within 1 second of each other, so they would overtake each other, but then each of them wouldn't have enough room or time to get beyond 1 second in front of each other, so it just became this DRS game.
And then, which was really fun to watch, Lewis being able to, that's the most overtakes he's had all season, so it was really exciting to see him have a moment, even though it was against Lando over and over and over. Then with Williams, that was awesome. That was some real proper team driving, first we've seen all season. Really fun to see Carlos and really start to feel like he was settling into that car and keeping pace with Albon, literally. So they were playing a little bit of defense. So correct me if I'm wrong here, and I feel like I probably am. They were kind of slingshotting each other and allowing for takeovers while playing defense against Hadjar, who was behind them. So Alex was in front and Carlos was behind. Carlos would get DRS. Alex would slow down a little. Or I was saying if. So actually, let's do it the real way. If Alex is in front. Wait, is that what I just said?
Alex was behind.
They were switching.
Did you say Alex is behind? Sorry.
If Carlos is in front, Alex is behind. Alex is going to use DRS to overtake Carlos. Carlos is going to play defense, and then they're going to go vice versa. But
we said behind, and then Jake and I were out.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Tim. You are crushing right now. Continue.
It's okay. I'm not, and that's fine. But it was just really fun to see some actual strategy and actual team play instead of what's been a really predominantly individual game this season in every single race. I feel like that is what Red Bull is looking for. Checo would do that some with Max last season. Danny did that with Max too. And it's, I don't know. I love when the team sport aspect of it really comes into play and it's not an ego thing. I love the ego stuff that comes in, and naturally it will and it should, but I feel like Alex and Carlos have this unique sauce that is happening and JV, and my boy. But I think they do. They've got something really special that I don't think any of the other teams have, which is 2 really top tier drivers in a car that has been suffering and is finally and a team that has been suffering and really trying to get back to its glory days. And we're starting to see it happen, which is what I was hoping would happen this season. I think all of us were kind of excited about the prospect of it. But now that Carlos has finished a race, they're in double points. They're doing really well. I don't know. I'm really excited to see what continues to happen into 26 too. Any other thoughts on DRS here?
Love it. I mean, they were protecting maximum points for two cars in the top 10. I think Carlos came on the radio and was like, I think Albon has more pace. Do you want me to let him by? And then they ended up doing this DRS train defense, which kept them in maximum points without Hadjar being able to, get by or steal any points off of them. So it was really cool to watch.
Yeah. Also, really great to see Hadjar continuously get points here after rough start to the season. Last thing I've got is I had no idea that Fernando Alonso had an athletic management company, and he does, and he got booty bumped.
Right.
Booty bumped by his client on the track, Gabriel Bortoleto, which is the most TV time Bortoletto's had all season.
That was hilarious. I feel like even the commentators were like, he will not have a dinner tonight.
Yeah, they're like,
yeah, no client dinner tonight.
So funny.
I would just love to see I feel like Alonso's got a really unique and funny personality.
Agreed.
And I would love to be a fly on the wall, or the waiter even, for that table to just see what those conversations are. And who else you know what? I'm going to Google really quick. I want to see who his clients are. Y'all take over talking.
when he got on the radio after the incident, his like wolf. I don't even know what kind of like mouth noise he made. But it's also like he's pretty like, I don't know, he's pretty calm, or he's like fired up, and like what the noise he made, I was like, I don't think I've ever heard him make a noise.
Could have been the first time he ever did.
It was like very unlike Alonso to make this weird noise. That was pretty funny.
All right. His company, A14 Management, manages a roster of drivers across various motorsport disciplines. Some of the drivers currently managed by Alonso's firm include Will Power, who's an prominent IndyCar driver. Jake, do you know him?
Of course I do.
Okay, great.
He's on Penske, not a fan.
Right. Not a big fan of Penske. Gabriel Bortoleto of Sauber, and then Maximilian Günther, who is a Formula E driver and has been managed by Alonso's firm for some time. And also manages other young drivers across different motorsports categories, including Nikola Solov, Chloe Chambers, Pepe Marti, and Daniel Juncadella. Everybody, I think the rec for him is you got to have a boss name. Really cool names only.
Before anyone gives me hate, I'm really just digging myself into a grave here. I don't hate Will Power.
Oh my, here we go.
He just hates Penske.
Tell us in the comments what you think about Jake's opinion about Will Power.
Guess what? There's going to be probably a little bit more content that I'm going to bring up because Indy 500 practice, or testing, I should say, tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm very
exciting stuff.
Okay, question for y'all. Do we know of anyone else who is actively playing a professional sport and managing someone who is also playing a professional sport?
I'm curious to know, one, to answer your question, I don't know anyone off the top of my head, but I would assume there's probably quite a few musicians that manage other musicians or producers.
See,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It feels crazy to be at the top of your game. Like, that would be like if, I mean, this is a horrible reference. It's just very grabbable. But like if Tom Brady, in the midst of him like trying to win a Super Bowl, is also managing another quarterback on another team. It seems wild.
Yeah. So what has started to happen a lot in the last decade, or maybe even more, is that like LeBron is a majority owner in Liverpool FC, and Tom Brady's also a majority owner in Brighton. That same thing. It's the same concept as like a lot of the actors who are purchasing stakes in MLS teams. Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds purchasing Wrexham FC. But I see it happening. I think it happens a lot more with English football clubs, because there is that relegation system, which I think should be implemented in U.S. sports too, because nobody needs to see the Cleveland Browns continue to lose over and over and over and over again.
Ownership, I mean, ownership, fine. You have a lot of money,
but not that hands-on management.
It seems wild to be managing while also doing the sport. Like, throw your money wherever you want for an investment, but like the management of it, I'm like, y'all are in the same event today. How are you?
Yeah, how are you going to tell him,
contract talks after?
Go do really well, and not say like, hey, come on, like, I'm 42.
Well, maybe that's why he has 0 points this year.
Oh, he's focusing on mentorship.
He's not making Bortoletto look any better by him not getting any points.
Have y'all seen this? True. I don't know if this is fake news or not, but there was something that like a clip from the race that I saw from this past weekend, and they were talking about Adrian Newey at Aston Martin and how he's won all these world championships and set all these records and is the most innovative engineer, yada, yada, yada. And he needs a championship driver to be able to drive the 26 car. And they straight up say, and we all know Lance Stroll is not that driver. And live broadcast, the camera is on Kimmy's POV cam and
my favorite
and DRS, don't race Stroll. I stand by it.
My favorite was the commentators on F1 TV saying, "Oh, and there's Fernando Alonso's teammate racing him." No, it's Fernando Alonso passing his teammate. Like it was
even more disrespectful than not even talking about how consistent George Russell is.
Oh my God, still not talking about.
Oh my God.
Okay, so George Russell, can we segue into another section, or do we want to talk about anything else from this race?
That's the highlights from in race. We finished the race. They actually show Piastri crossing the line this time.
That's exciting.
Something new and different. He crosses the line, third win this season. Fifth win overall for his tenure. Max comes in second. Charles comes in third. The race itself, very physical. So this track, I think I heard them say their average speed is 160 miles an hour for the US. At kilometers, you lost me. Miles an hour, 160 miles an hour is insane to average the whole lap. The whole lap is, it's a longer track. So it's maybe 3.5 miles.
It's one of, if not, I think it's the second longest to Spa.
Yeah. It's a pretty aggressive track in general, and it's hot. The heat, it got to some people. Kimmy, sweet Kimmy specifically. Did y'all see him after the race?
No. Was he just even more?
He was about to pass
frail.
Out.
Yeah.
He's a high performance athlete. And
real
athletes sweat.
Sweat, baby.
The track length or the circuit length is 6.175 kilometers, and it's the second longest circuit in the F1 calendar, just behind Spa. And to answer your conversion question or query, Kelley, that it's about close to 245 kilometers per hour. So 150 to 160 miles per hour.
That's about twice as fast as American speeds, huh?
Yeah.
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 I race an American.
I'd love to talk about I like the post-race interview. I mean, I live for a cool down room. This was not giving this this race. I was waiting for it. I was like, okay, I'm going to clear everything out because interviews are happening and cool down room. Honestly, I was a little anxious about the cool down room because obviously they're going to show turn one and, they get out of the cars, they do their interview, they do their little handshakes, but they haven't said anything. And then the moment they all are in that cool down room, they choose, I want to be the person who's also in the room that starts do we think they're settled? Okay, play highlights. There's the light guy who makes the lights go out for them to start, but who gets to decide when the highlights start playing in the cool down room? I want that to be my job. But we don't get a lot. What did y'all, Jake, I know you watched. Thoughts on what we got?
Oscar was just yapping. I was like,
he was?
Girl, yes, yippity yap. I was like, shut up.
What was he saying?
My favorite meme that I send y'all when you disagree with me, and it's Regina George, and she's like, shut up. That's literally the way I felt. I was like, we don't need a commentary of the race. We saw what happened. We watched, girl. And Max was not having any of it. He was not answering any questions. He was not commenting. And good for him. He is a stronger person than I, because to your point, Kelley, look how hot I am. And we're more than 72 hours out from this race now. Can you imagine? I'd be flipping tables. I'd be like that Katya and Trixie. Somehow this always goes back to Drag Race. Flipping the table of like
gay, but I'm not that gay. What are we watching? What are we watching?
Like,
Absolutely.
No. So yeah, he was just yippy yappy. I mean, he won, and he's leading the drivers' championship now. So like, okay, I get it. But Charles was just, I think Charles was just kind of happy to be there.
He was. He also kind of said that.
Yeah. And Max was just like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was bringing back some dishes from Easter brunch, and the clip that I saw that was on the TV was the live podium ceremony. And just seeing Max there standing, and iconic moment. No emotion, standing still, looks down, picks up the magnum of champagne, chugs, puts it back down, crosses his hands, and looks out.
Can I say one thing to just bring it back to when I said I was done talking about it? That's another perfect example of the sportsmanship likeness or whatever. When Oscar won and Lando did a very similar quote unquote pity party thing, everyone ripped him to shreds. But you're not seeing that, maybe online you are, but you're not seeing that in highlights or on F1 like they did with Lando. Like that was front page. And it's like, that's what I'm talking about, of like the standards being different. And I don't think even if Max was mad, you don't have to, like, him not spraying the champagne and standing there was a statement in itself. And that's
100%.
Exactly what Lando did. Like, no one tells you that you have to spray the champagne on someone. No one tells you that you have to do anything. However, I think when no one tells you that that's the rules, then you can't have an opinion about it. Like, if they don't want to celebrate, that's fine. If they don't want to drink out of the shoe, that's fine.
I think this is where we want it so bad for Lando. So when he does that, we're like, oh man, we love you so much. Don't give him something to talk about. But for Max, we're like, yeah, Max is an asshole. He doesn't give a fuck.
We expect it from him.
Like,
I don't.
Absolutely.
But see, yeah, I just don't.
It's setting expectations, right? And I think
But
that maybe as Lando continues to have more success and continues to kind of come into his own in terms of like, I'm not just like a nice young driver anymore. Like, I want to fucking win and like be here.
He also says, I'm going to do it different. So I think he's setting some expectations for himself too, but I don't know.
I just think a 4-time world champion doing that versus someone that did that in, you know, one of his top 10 podiums in his career is.
Well, it could be.
It's like, oh, well, Max is just an asshole. Well, Lando, that's horrible of him. But then it's like, if he does show emotion, then he's a wimp. Let's move on.
One other aspect of this could be
Jakey.
that Max's was about the FIA and Lando's was about papaya rules.
Either way.
Either way. Pissed is pissed, and
he said,
"Piss is piss.
Piss is piss. Drink it either way."
I know, gross. I don't even know why I said that, but
all right,
like being mad is big mad. It manifests for whatever reason, but I think we've come to just relish Max having a Max moment versus like.
I just love that for Max. I feel seen. Because I'm still mad. So, like, I love that. I'll stand there and I'll live.
The title of next episode is going to be Mad in Miami.
Well, I think Lando is going to just come home in Miami. Anyways,
all right,
let's
hydration
take us home,
station.
Jake.
I'm thirsty.
No, we can't go to hydration station.
Fuck me, sorry. Whoa. My page, that was... Isn't it? All right, Kelley, take it away. Let's get some box banter. Triple B.
We're gonna Jake, take us through the standings.
Yeah, let me go through that.
Shit,
Then we'll
I
go through
skipped
box.
way ahead.
Tim is ready to
Jake
go to
is
bed.
And let's wrap.
So we have Gabriel Bortoleto, Jack Doohan, Liam Lawson, Fernando Alonso, all with 0 points still. Carlos Sainz, Isaac Hadjar, Yuki Tsunoda, all 5 points. Ollie Behrman, Nico Hulkenberg, Pierre Gasly with 6. Lance Stroll in 10th place, rounding off our top 10 with 10 points. Esteban Ocon with 14, Alex Albon 20, Lewis Hamilton 31, Kimi Antonelli in 6th place with 38 points. P5 is Charles Leclerc with 47 points. P4, George Russell 73 points. And then our top 3 drivers, Max Verstappen, current reigning world champion, 87 points, closely behind Lando Norris, now in 2nd place with 89 points, and overtaking Lando Norris this race and leading the Drivers' Championship is Oscar Piastri with 99 points. That puts McLaren at the top with 188 points, Mercedes behind McLaren with 111, Red Bull Racing with 89, Ferrari 78, Williams rounding the top 5 out with 25 points, Haas with 20 points, Aston Martin with 10 points, mind you, which are from Lance Stroll. And P8, we have Racing Bull Honda, which is VCarb, 8 points, Alpine, 6 points, and Kick Sauber with 6 points.
All teams on the board. That's crazy.
All teams on the board. Now, before we get into box banter, let's go through our F1 fantasy because we are having a comeback too. This race alone, I got dinged because I thought I was going to be such a great
Clever boy.
F1 fantasy, clever boy, and switch out Pierre Gasly because he's been doing so well in qualifying and practice. And Yuki, again, Fuki the rest of the season. Tim, you got 157 points this week. That brings you at 395 total points. Hennis Vinkas has 186 points from this race, which scored more than anyone amongst the 3 of us this race, and that puts you at a grand total of 727 points. And then DRS Yana Grande scored 162 points this race, no thanks to Yuki because he wrecked my Gasly, and that puts
your plans,
me at
the youth say
748. So only about, what is that, 19-point difference,
closing the gap.
So closing the gap.
Closing the gap.
But that's where we stand. Kelley, would you love now to take us into box banter?
Let's get the banter going.
We're gonna auto-tune that and make that the jingle.
And we're gonna put the banter banjo behind it too.
This is not NASCAR. Is that?
No, absolutely not.
It'd be hilarious. What about the F1 theme song on a banjo?
Don't give them ideas. They'll do it for Austin.
I'm surprised they have it. I'm obsessed with the Mexico version. Anyways, I digress. Let's talk about
bagpipes. Okay, sorry.
Is there a race in like Scotland?
There should be now.
My wife would be all over it. She'd be like, "This is Outlander. It's the same." And I'd say, "No, girl.
Nope.
Not the same. No kilts." Let's talk about the banter of the week. Team radios. Ferrari. I'm going to start with Ferrari because I just love the evolution of how things are going. We've had some just on completely different pages. We've had some frustration. We've had some funniness, and we had some funny continue this week. Charles engineer came on the radio and said, "Well done, Charles," after he did something great. And Leclerc came on the radio and was like, "Thank you, Brian." He was so
Stewie Griffin about
specific about it.
Thank you, Brian.
Oh, that sounded exactly like that one character that I don't know. Yeah. That one. It reminded me of the Put It in the Words of Wisdom book.
Yeah.
And Martin Brundle, who does the grid walk and is, I learned a little bit more about his background. He was a great driver. he raced with at the same time with Senna. Anyways, I digress. But he did an interview with Charles, and was like, tell me about this like words of wisdom book. Is it a real book? He actually asked Charles, and Charles was like, it is a inside joke, but yes, we are writing down the funny things from the 7 years of us working together. All I could think of was like, can we see this book?
Yeah, they're going to make a shit ton of money turning that into a coffee table book.
100%. I think I would buy that book. Would y'all buy that book?
Should we start writing it first? Should we just start going back and scrubbing old seasons?
Yes, obsessed. So that was one moment. We sort of mentioned this earlier, but the back and forth, we did a little, sometimes we use the radio to make cases to the FIA or call things out. We see it a lot. Honestly, with Max. Max would be like, take a look over there. He's over the line. So anyways, the radio sometimes does the back and forth thing, but with the incident in turn 1, GP, who is Verstappen's engineer, comes on and says, information, you have been given a 5-second time penalty. Verstappen comes on the radio and said, well, that is, and on our feed, it got bleeped out. Lovely. I'm curious what y'all think about, the thing that was bleeped out was bloody. I'm obviously American, so bloody to me, I don't know. Does it warrant?
Freaking. It's like saying like, that's freaking awesome. At least to me. I don't think it warranted a bleep.
Also,
I think
we're in
the FIA.
It's 2025.
I thought he said fucking.
Yeah. I didn't know what he said. And then afterwards, they were like, they bleeped out bloody. Maybe they were anticipating it.
Also, like, if you're bleeping it out, that's the point of bleeping.
Right.
So, like, why is it an issue?
Silly FIA. Boo FIA.
This is not for children 18 and over. We do have a disclaimer. I do check that box, so...
Okay, great. Good to know.
Just
Last one I want to talk about is our cool chill guy, Oscar Piastri. You kind of alluded to it, Jake, but he finishes the race. Again, it's his 5th win, not his first win. He's pretty calm on the radio most of the time. We get a woo girl on the the radio at the end of the race. Piastri comes off, and I can't do it well, but woo! Yeah. I don't know how to do it. Well done, everyone. It was a little bit more difficult to start than I had hoped for, but yeah, very well done. Massive 3 weeks, and let's keep it going. Got a lot of fun to have this year. Wordy woo girl? How do we feel?
Yeah. Wordy woo girl. That's the name of the episode.
That's his
Woody
Tinder profile underline.
Hootie
his Tinder bio.
Oh my god. Yeah, he was just... Yeah.
He's so chill. He's like just kicked back in every...
Yeah, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
All right.
Oh dear.
I dare you.
The FIA is not stopping you.
I think, like, why can't he show... What? I'm going to throw it back on them. Why can't he show emotion? Why can't he be excited? It's always when he wins. Oh, yeah, it could have been better at the start, but we did it. Like, girl, woo. Like,
so we liked the woo.
Yeah, if you're gonna woo.
Go.
Jake, the amount of time it takes you...
woo.
If you're gonna woo, who?
Literally.
Jake, the amount of time it takes you to go from I'm going to keep my mouth shut to not keeping your mouth shut is about as fast as the Ferrari pit stops from this weekend.
Ooh.
And you know what, though? That is where Ferrari is quick and consistent, because they have taken that every race this year. This week, too.
Love it. The other two, this isn't radio specific, but it's a little of like chaotic gossip that created kind of a stir. Someone mentioned that Lance Stroll, sweet baby Lance Stroll, has a new record. He holds a new record, and it's the most exits from Q1. 75 exits out of Q1 in qualifying.
I hope Martin Brundle brings that up on the grid walk next weekend. Can you imagine? Or not next weekend, 2 weekends from now, but how iconic that would be.
To be fair, it's not really his fault. You know why? Because he is probably, I don't want to say this and I probably am wrong, but he is one of the probably most inconsistent or consistently non-performing drivers that has lasted this long.
Yeah.
Very fair.
It's not really his fault because he's just been there longer than anyone else that would have been fired by now. And that's not hating.
Yeah.
That's not,
I was like,
let's
get to the point where
it's not hating on him. It's just
nepotism.
Yeah, it is kind of what it is.
But but also like he's the only one scoring points for Aston this season.
Okay.
Right?
How much is Fernando getting paid to not score this season to fluff up Lance's numbers?
He's busy managing. The only other thing I'm going to bring back, something we haven't talked about in a couple races, is the main character. I am obsessed with what the fireworks did to all of the drivers in the interviews. They are out there trying to fulfill their media requests, and the fireworks are just living their best explosive life out on the track. It impacted a lot of drivers. I saw it in the middle of Sainz trying to answer a question. Lando hated them. The fireworks turned into the main character no one knew we needed.
They just getting distracted by it?
They just kept going.
They
just kept going.
Albon, what did Albon say about them? It was pretty funny.
I don't know. All I remember is Lando being like, not this again, and like literally walking away.
Like, I know, at first I was like, does he have like a sensory thing?
They were like dogs on 4th of July. Like, get me the hell out of here kind of thing.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's some banter, some chaos. And man, after all that, I did work up a thirst.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very hot race, so I think it's time for our weekly dive into hydration station. So let's all hydrate, because this week was one for a drink of water. The first one I have is J-Lo visiting Ferrari's garage.
Come on, girl.
So listen, you if you've never listened to us before, welcome. I promise I'm not such a bitch all the time, but I do love to hate. And I promise I'm not just loving to hate on this, but she rolled in, we'll put it on the screen, but she rolled in wearing this bubblegum pink latex cat suit, looking like the unofficial Power Rangers of Scuderia Ferrari.
The only fans
Power Ranger.
Yeah. It was
I get fashion, I get couture. I mean, like, I understand that I don't understand that all the time.
You weren't living.
Ferrari has enough problems. Do not distract them. Do not distract them by bringing one of the most beautiful women into your garage when you need to be working on the car, but then having one of the most beautiful women in the world wearing that. Girl.
Also, my concern as a Midwestern boy living in Texas, that had to have been so sweaty. Like, that not comfortable.
I was just going to say,
Jeddah.
Like, you're in Jeddah and like,
so sweaty.
Why are you wearing that? But
and once you get in it, you can't just like slip out of it for a moment. You need like a team to like.
To be honest,
like,
you out of that.
I was thinking about this. I think she might have been a little jealous she didn't get to go to space, and that's kind of where that came in. But
it should have been me energy.
Yeah, because she
been,
is such
what if it was a Blue Origin latex cat suit?
That's what it gave, and I was like, "Girl, you're actually lucky you dodged that bullet."
100%.
You're on the like okay now. People still don't like you, but like you're better than them, so let them have their moments. She's like, "No, they need to hate me more."
Yeah, feet on the ground, girl.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we have. This is going to be the inaugural.
Wait, can I just say, also J-Lo, like, okay, all the things, but She's 55.
Oh, yes.
I wouldn't even put myself in a latex full suit right now. If I had a banging body and felt confident enough to go out in a latex suit at 55, I mean,
more power to you, but like at least make it pretty.
Okay, that's fair.
I didn't like the look.
Fine, fair.
If it was like an all like Scuderia Ferrari red with like,
right,
could have been a moment.
I just think latex to a garage is just kind of, it's
Sticky.
kind of like, it's like cringy a little bit, you know? It's like,
okay.
we
I
get
digressed.
it.
I digressed.
It was like Britney Spears in the Oops, I Did It Again, but that was even better.
What I heard is that her latex suit was actually manufactured by Pirelli.
It feels like something the Cars on like Cars, the movie would like put her in, you know, like the pit stop crew.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I made us go backwards.
You're good. You're good.
Keep us going.
Speaking of going backwards, next up is Lando Norris. See, I do have a sense of humor. That's me making fun of it. This is the inaugural post for Hydration Station. And I saw this and I just was like, yep, you won this week. This is my thirsty. This is my thirsty take. It's we'll put it on the screen, but if you're listening, it's Lando shirtless, you know, jawline just lovely, arms a little flex, you know, skincare looks great. He's with some I think either like McLaren, I don't know, engineers or just employees, I don't know. I don't really know context behind it. It was just online. It was probably he was very hot and took his shirt off because it was hot. But it was great. And, you know, to quote Beyonce, this is what I want to see. More content like that. Now, on the thirstier side, like actually like thirsty, gross way.
Has the thirst.
Who just is a thirsty human being, Mr. Christian Horner. I reserved a special thirst spot in Hydration Station because if you didn't see, he printed out a still image of Max's onboard and printed it like on an actual piece of paper, like a color, like Canon printer, which it is 2025. Like, get the iPad or something. Why are we printing on
Why
paper?
did they have a color laser printer that they're schlepping around
Literally
the
everyone in the
world?
garage is holding an iPad.
I'm honestly surprised it didn't have like the printer streaks in it from like the ink like running out. It was Max being ahead at the apex during the whole like track limits fiasco in turn 1. But I'm like, be so for real right now. Like, Red Bull actually got pretty much like a net gain because that 5-second penalty really is meant to make you lose a place. So if you were in second, like, and you got a 5-second penalty, it really kind of pushes you back down to third. And Max, you know, made up those 5 seconds and finished actually quite close to Oscar, more than he quote unquote should have. So it's like them making this big deal about this and like saying, well, Max was ahead. And it's like, come on. From this picture, yeah, you can take a snapshot of anything right now. Like, someone could take a snapshot of my face right now and like, look how pissed Jake is. And it's like, I'm actually not pissed. I have resting bitch face. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things, like, you have to know the context behind it. And also, okay, he was ahead, but he was going off track. Like I said, if there was a gravel pit or a wall there, he would not have been ahead. So it was just giving like when certain leaders bring like poster boards up to like an official thing and they're like, look at my visual aid. You're like, we are not in high school or junior high.
Or the
and
90s.
I guarantee that high school and junior high kids these days bring their damn iPad instead of a printed sheet of paper. So that's where I'm going to leave that. But finally, my meme of the week was a picture of Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen. And they both have two very different expressions on their face. But the caption for both of them is, life has no meaning. And I just felt like that encompassed like how I felt this week. So, yeah, that's my quench for hydration station this week.
You really took us on a journey, Jake.
Yeah.
You know, I tried.
I loved it.
Tim, you ready to take us away with a little Tim takes?
Yeah, I am. Okay, so while we were speaking, I wrote down a really short second one. First one is, if you receive a penalty, you will get penalized, and it could very well affect your race.
Yes.
Second one, latex is not easy to get into, or out of for that matter, and seen.
Facts. It's real. I don't think. Have you ever worn latex? I have.
In fact, I had to think about it. Concerns me, but no, I have not.
I have not. You would think.
Did you have to Crisco yourself to get in and out?
I think it wasn't like it was like a latex. Like it's like harness. A latex harness. Yes. But it ironically wasn't for like some gay shit. It was like for like, I mean, it was for theater, so like gay shit. But like, it wasn't like anyway, I don't really remember it, but I remember it like chafing my armpits really bad, and it was very, very uncomfortable. So yeah, I grew
up in leotards, but like that, not latex.
Yeah, like that's meant to be like sweat and danced in.
I did cats in high school, and I was in spandex, not latex. I got blown up. Yeah.
Well, with that wraps us.
Let us know on Spotify. The poll this week is: have you worn latex, and in what context?
Exactly. Before we go, if you like what you heard, be sure to make sure that you're following. Be sure to make sure that you're making sure to follow the show. Feel free to leave us a review. We are on YouTube, on all the places like we said earlier. Your feedback really does help impact where we go from here. What you like, what you don't like, the mediums that we're putting this out on, how we're connecting with you. We're also putting up some, polls and questions on our Instagram. So if you have a second, even if it's a one-word thing or like, I don't know what DRS means, like anything like that gives us something to talk about, and shuts me up from, crying about my favorite driver a little bit. So again, I can't stress enough, like we appreciate your feedback, even the good, the bad, the ugly. It's all welcome. If you have any questions or thoughts, you can always DM us or email us at f1derlandpodcast@gmail.com. All of that is in our link tree on our sites as well. And coming up next, we have a week off from races, which is, I think, much needed for a lot of people. But our next stop is Miami, baby. So expect some sun and drama and a lot of A-list celebrities, I'm sure. But I think I speak for all of us when we say we're manifesting chaos, but like in all the right ways.
Absolutely.
But yeah, until then.
If you haven't watched the Miami Grand Prix before, and specifically Martin Brundle's grid walk in Miami, it's my favorite place for him to grid walk. So please tune in.
I hope it's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
Sorry to interrupt, Jake. I had to.
No, you're good. You're good. I actually had a question for you before we sign off. Do you think, I had this thought, you know how Gaga has little monsters and other people have their little things? This might be something that you all can help us with. I had the idea to call you guys and gals and people Wonderlanders or F Wonderlanders.
Or Fwanderers.
Wanderers because they're so lost in where we're going.
Wandering around Wonderland.
We'll put that in the post. You let us know what you would like to be called. We appreciate you listening. But until then, make sure that you're staying hydrated, stay fast, and remember to always get to the apex first.
Yeah. Yes,
we'll see you in Miami. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Bye.
Bye.